Another exciting moment in the presidential villa where we have the housemates talk about sport today. You might be surprised seeing different faces. This is week 3 into the game. And we have the housemates group. And for this week, these are groups, members for the group A. We have Fred, we have Kala, we have Faith, we have Odinaka, we have Jefferson, and we have Bam Bam as well. These are members of the first group that will be giving us a lot about sport. Sport, where we are, where we have been, and where we are heading. Last few years, we had so many Olympic Games, and Nigeria were represented, but what did we come back with in terms of athletes, different of various kinds of sports? Apart from football, are there other things Nigeria should do when it comes to talent that we have here? That's just what the housemates will be discussing today. Don't forget, it's a game, and the winner will emerge at the end of this particular season. Let's have the housemates for Group A discuss sports. Don't go away.
Residence reality TV show.
It's a beautiful evening to have you join us again for another interesting session. As the saying goes that sport is life, although most people argue that it is music that is life, but whoever exercises has a lot of life inside him or her. So together we are here to discuss about sport, the Nigerian sports system, and the way forward. My name is Faith Isangede, and we are here as Group A. So quickly we'll run through an introduction, and we'll have their names and their favorite sport. So we'll begin with you. What's your name, ma?
Thank you so very much, Sir Faith. My name is Odinaka Chukwuzamahiacho, and my favorite sport is carrot.
Carrot.
Correct. Yes,
Beautiful.
I'm a carrot taker anyway.
Have you been to China before?
I've not been.
Absolutely.
Okay, my name is Jefferson Jaffet Aku, basketball.
Basketball.
Yeah, my name is Oluwabishi Hakram Fayemi, and my favorite sport is football.
Football.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So Carla,
I'm Carla God, and I love basketball.
basketball.
Fred, football.
Okay, beautiful. And Fred is our team leader for Team A. So quickly, we'll have the Nigerian sports sector has been an interesting sector. We've celebrated a lot of Nigerians who have made it to the world stage, and we could see their tenacity, their perseverance, and their consistency to ensure they bring back the win for us. So, in our sporting system, I'll quickly come to you, Mr. Fred. In our sporting system, what do you think our history has been like in our sporting system? How can you rate our history as a nation in sports?
When it comes to, thank you so much for that question. When it comes to history, Nigeria had a very good kind of history when it comes to football as regards to Africa, as regards to the world generally, because we produced one of the best African talents. I could talk about Kanu Nwankwo, talk about JJ Okocha, talks about a lot of Rashidi Yakini, a lot of world-class strikers and attackers or footballers that have done very well. And another aspect of that, considering the fact that we are a country of over 200 million people, and averagely around 65% young people per percentage, I believe that if we trace it back from our history to the present day, we are expected to do more. Because what it means is the country is made of young people. That's what it means. The country is made of young people. And one thing about football, or one thing about sport, is when our sporting sector is maximized, it can automatically eliminate insecurity and disunity, basically. Because one thing with football is football removes ethnic sentiment, it removes religious sentiment, it removes any other thing. So the way our history is, it does not look like our present day football. It doesn't look like our present day sport. Let me focus on football. It doesn't look like our present day football, because the importance we give to football that time is not the same thing as what we have now. right? What we have now, it's either they are undermined or they are not properly prioritized. We need a reorientation such that the kind of events that happened to the women football system, that they slept at the airport, such thing dents the image of a country, or then the image of a continent. Certain countries or certain continents in the world will do everything possible to remove that kind of scenario. So I think our current day football is not at its best.
Okay.
Our current day football, but our history has a lot of awesome stories.
All right. So we agree that our history has a lot of awesome stories, and as a country in the sports industry, we've had lots of challenges. But you see, basically we have a lot of sessions where people talk about challenges, problems. So today, gentlemen, I just want you to give us the solutions so that we know the way forward. So that by 2030 we can predict this is where our sports industry will be. So quickly again, I'll still land on you, Sir Fred, before I now move to Odinaka. So what do you think is the way forward? If you said that we are going down from what we used to have before, what do you think is the way forward? How can we put more importance to our sports industry?
So I think a quick, direct to the point, we need to empower our young talent.
All right.
With more focus on them, intentional one. I use the word intentional because it is one thing to focus on them. People like Amosun and several other Nigerian athletes that are doing well outside were particularly doing well because they took that boldness of going outside the country. Let me use the word, they are not our product. Our blood run through their vein. But other countries invested in them. Right? Victor Osimhen, several other players are doing well outside the country.
So you are saying the country should invest in our people?
Thank you. Invest in them by bringing the facilities, invest in them by bringing the enabling environment, invest in them by taking them as your own priority to push them out.
All right. So when we talk about what you've just said now, most people say that the government does not fund the sporting sector enough. So quickly we'll come to you, Odinaka. So what do you think are the policies that we can have for an effective running of the sports industry? And how can government do policies such that they can channel a lot of funds to the sports industry so that we can have a beautiful sports industry? Let's just estimate that by 2030, this is what we are looking at to achieve in the sports industry.
Thank you so very much, Sir Faith. Before I maybe hit on the policies, I would love to state the statistics. As at 2018, the global sports market was reached a value of $489 billion, and it was growing at a 4% rate annually. That was as at 2014. Now projections have it that as at 2022, with a global annual rate of 6%, it will be reaching a whopping sum of $614 billion.
That means by 2020 it can reach 9%.
No, this is 2020.
Like that's what I'm saying. By 2030 it can reach 9%.
Even more than that.
Absolutely.
So, and this thing, investors, private individuals can come and invest, and this would also eliminate. It's also a channel of labor, in which people get employment from the sporting sector. Now we go over to the regulations, and I want to say that right now there is currently a debt in the legislature of sports, because sports doesn't have its own policy. Like, I want to put it from here so that my facts will be straight. Here it says federal laws regulating aspects of the Nigerian sports industry include the National Institute for Sports Act 1992, which establishes the National Institute for Sports, and it reads, and also one other thing is that this football, none of these laws adequately address the need of a developing sports sector. Under this policy, these are federal policies. They don't really affect the sport directly. That is why when it comes to resolution, the sport on its own should have a reconciliatory committee within itself, so that if they have problems, they go there. But what we see in Nigeria is that they go to the law, they go to the courts, which is against international standards. And now, how do we do this? Is that government should legislate laws which are favorable for the sports industry, which will make investment come in, just like Mr. Fred said, and which would also expand it. Because when we go to what we call the CMS, it has the public sector. People divide it. When you divide sports, it has public sector, it has where you see the NGOs, non-profit sector, and it also has a commercial sector. Under the public sector, which is the major duty of the government, build infrastructures that would help promote sports. Go to the grassroots, because
now looking at what she has said, if you go to the grassroots, we'll get it right, basically, very importantly.
Yeah.
All right. So quickly now, we have situations in the United States where we see students right from secondary school, colleges, they are being trained, and after that they just go out and join the national sports sector. But do we have that in Nigeria, and how can you relate the solutions we can give to that? So Ms. Kala will have that from you.
Okay, thank you.
Our sporting sector and education.
Okay, she talked about policies.
Yes.
Now, policies are supposed to be progressive. Policies that are supposed to encourage growth. Now, what I think that we should also have is a symbiotic relationship between the sports industry or the sports sector and other sectors, particularly also the education sector. Why? Because a lot of young people can be found in the education sector. So policies that encourage each companies that are here have a team. What stops your own company from having a team? Whether it's basketball, whether it's golf, support one, build one, let it be part of your CSR. I've talked about how that can happen in the tech space. It can also happen in the sports space. Today, if we talk about the brands that support sports, we can mention maybe like 2 or 3, and they're mostly in the beverage sector. What about other brands that can come up with, okay, fine, you guys are part of your CSR, since probably your company is located in this community, have a football team from here within this age and this age. No politics, just you guys. Pay a coach, fund the team, get them out to play amongst themselves. We need to encourage these things to happen. The education sector, who says government schools can't have teams where there is a coach that, just as you teach physical health education, the coach it's a subject for people who actually want to get into sports, because not everybody will get through the secondary school and go to study professional courses. Some persons would want to get into sports. So sport is something that requires discipline and requires a structure. Those kind of structures should be set in different sectors to accommodate this. You find out that there are sometimes when, another thing when you talk about policies also, another thing that should happen is the kind of, when you look at the budget, what's allocated for sports, it's quite much, but if it's managed properly, it will reach, it will develop the underlying areas that are needed. But we find that this is Nigeria. Some things happen, 2 billion is supposed to be allocated for this, and at the end of the day, mediocrity is promoted. Money that's supposed to go out for certain things, didn't go out. Some persons will just stay, and their pocket holes in the let's say the ministry system or the governance system, and people are taking money from these areas. So I think that apart from these solutions, we should take ourselves seriously as a nation. Sports is something that can represent us globally into the world. Just as we export tech giants, we export products from here. We can export our own people and invest in them and get it to the point where other countries can come here and say, I want such players, I want such players, and they can give back into this place also.
So while you were speaking, you reached the point where you say that we can have more partnerships.
Yeah.
Okay, so quickly I'll move to you, Sir Jeff, talking on partnerships and monetization. Is there a way we can have the private sector in the sport industry? What can we do to ensure that basically it's not just on the government, but we also have private individuals who are also joining hands together with the government to see how we can promote effectively our sporting sector?
Okay, thank you very much. I think first and foremost, what we'll do is we'll give airing rights. Before you get partnership, you may get partnership who is a domestic investor, but you should have, just like how she said, we should have an international body that can come in. So how can an international body come in? You must expose the content that you have. That's sports products and talents. Now, you have to give airing rights to our domestic leagues. People should sponsor our domestic league so that they can be aired.
Yeah.
Right? Then after that, we'll get sponsorship from our partners from other clubs where the domestic leagues partner with the international ones, like Arsenal partnering with Rangers or Wiki Tories, and then producing good talent. Then another one is marketing our products. How do we market our product? Just like music. Music, they market the product. So what we'll do is in marketing, when we train them, we bring them together, and then we have a club. We sponsor. We find an investor who is going to take them out, just like how Carla said, take them out, and then in an exchange to a club. The club pays for an individual. Like for example, you're paying for Suleiman. Suleiman plays 10, and then you're taking him to a club outside. You pay some amount of money, you take him. That money will be used to sponsor more things down here.
All right. So quickly now, we'll move to you, Bamba.
Yeah.
So looking at the sports sector, do you think there is a way that we can decentralize the sports sector from the federal government to the state government to the local government level, so that all of them have some sort of autonomy to run their different sporting activities, so that the pressure is not just on the federal government to boost the sports industry, but all these other sectors have a part to play to ensure that people are groomed from the local government, trained also to the state level, to the federal level, and they can represent us at a global stand.
Thank you, Faith. And firstly, we should ask ourselves this question: that what is that sport is not that work in Nigeria? Is that we are not having collective effort on this matter, and we should try to decentralize it. The federal should be on its own, the state should be on its own, the local government should be on its own. The state government should not wait for federal government to be able to fund them, and the local government should not wait for the state government to be able to wait for them. And there should be like partnership with the schools around the state or the local government. At least they will bring out the best student, the best from them. Like during my school days, I happen to be one of though I run for my skills and
so which one did you use to run? Is it 100 meters?
And though I came second, it was the lady that came first. Though the lady proved to me that what a man can do, the lady can do better. So at least I have that passion to run that time. But the promise is the government made that time, they cannot bring out the best in me, and that died down the passion I have during that time.
So quickly, you are sharing a real life experience now. How did you feel like when the government did not make environment comfortable to support your dream of being
Actually,
a runner?
I feel bad. Actually, I feel bad. I feel like my dream not come true because the passion just died down, just like that.
You see, by now we would have had you at the global scene.
Giving us a
Global scene. But see, that's what we are trying to do, to have more environments created so that young people can have more involvement in sporting activities. Because just like now we see in an average family where a boy picks interest in football, your mother will quickly ask you, who in this Nigeria have you seen that is
and the one that has money will send you out.
So the more we invest in this sporting sector, the more our young people can have more interest in sports. And you see, Nigeria has so much of beautiful talent.
Of course.
Yeah,
So
A
much
lot
a
of
lot.
them.
And I know that with proper investment, we can do excellently and more well. So, Sir Fred, you just give us your concluding thoughts on this, and please tell us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, gentlemen. This is a beautiful session from Group A. God bless you.
President's reality TV show.
From the days of Nojim Mayekun, Nigeria has produced people who have gone out to represent the country, who have gone out to hoist the flag of the country and become champions in their niche in sports. Today we have the likes of Toby Amusan, Anthony Joshua, Alexander Iwobi, Haruna Quadri, and a lot others. Now the problem of Nigeria in sports is not because we don't have these people. It's the fact that we've not been able to manage our glory in a way that we're going to produce a society that is loved and is appreciated by a lot others in the world in terms of sports. Now today, that is why we're here to demystify sports in Nigeria. What is the problem of sports in Nigeria? Why are we at this sport today? My name is Daniel, and I have here with me my team, beautiful team people, Team B. Just as we do it every week, we reshuffle and regroup, and here we are today. From my left, we have Matthew and Damaris, and from my right, we have Edidiong and Okom, and we're here to talk sports today. So, what is the problem of sports in Nigeria? Before I make a lot of talk, I'm going to go straight to Damaris, who is going to be giving us her perspective on sports today. Thank you, Damaris.
Thank you very much. I would like to talk about 2 key points. First of all, lack of parental encouragement, and then secondly, lack of discovery and development of young athletes. Now I'm talking about lack of parental encouragement. While I was growing as a child, I had this passion for football. But actually my parents did not encourage me because they feel I'm a girl. And if you ask me till now, I still have passion for that.
Yeah.
And then now let's talk about lack of discovery of young athletes. Some of our coaches today, they don't really have the time to go to remote areas to discover new talent. They'll just pick any random person around and they go with that person. And then I would like to bring this back again to parental. It's a very key. Now, as a parent, you need to introduce your child to different varieties of sports, not just the traditional one, which is football. Soccer, yeah. So let them get familiar to different sports, and then they can make choice of which one they are interested in. Then also you should coach them as a parent first of all, and then we should try to reach their dreams, not yours. Don't decide what they should do because we don't get the better part of it. And then talking about coaching, you need to employ a good coach for your child. You understand? Like not just a good coach, but someone who has the same value for that particular segment. Yes. Yeah. And then, well, I have a lot to say, but because of time, I'll just stop there.
Okay, like we know, she has come from the grassroots. They say charity begins at home, and that's what she has said now. We need to start from home to grow people who are going to be world champions. It begins from there. Right about now, we're moving to Okom, who is going to be giving us his perspective, some of the problems we have in Nigeria, and how can we tame this problem? How can we nip the problem on the board? So Okom, please tell us, what do you think are the problems in the sports sector in Nigeria?
All right, good afternoon, Uncle.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So I'll first swiftly talk about the low remuneration in our sporting sector. I believe we have not been actually be able to utilize that sector very well. It forms part of our national ideology as a people, and I think the low remuneration in the sporting sector is what has actually kept us where we are right now.
Okay.
If you look at our athletes, you look at the country, you look at national outside the country, you discover that the athletes that we have in the country will choose to play for other countries and live in our country, and that's because we don't give them that those incentives they are supposed to be deserving. And you have the likes of Kano Chukwuemeka of the Chelsea, that you have a footballer, you have the likes of Dele Alli, who is now an Englishman, who is from Nigeria. We have so many. We have Ademola, so many Ade Joku, something everywhere. And you have these people who are supposed to be representing Nigeria, representing other countries. And it all boils back to, are we taking care of these people? We are not taking care of them. So when you invite them to come and play these matches for you, you don't give them all the things they are supposed to be given so that they can feel comfortable and also willing to play for the country war. So that is one of it. And then the second one, which I will actually talk about, is the challenge of managing these people.
Okay.
Yes, we have that inefficiency in the management of athletes. So we have that a lot. So we have superb professionals managing these athletes, and it decreases their values. So you're saying. So we have a situation where an athlete today goes from being an average player to a top player to a professional, and then tomorrow the value is decreasing. It's because there's no consistency in managing these persons. You are bringing up a policy, there's no discipline, there's no character also included in it. And so this person come with an ideology of, let me play the one I can play, I'll leave the rest. So when their value keep depreciating, you discover that, okay, fine, they have moved from that big guy that he used to be to somebody who is of low and tangible monetary value also attached to the person. So I'll move swiftly to the educational, how education also affects sports. They are interwoven. If you discover very well, okay, fine. In sports was actually from their primitive life, from the Garden of Eden, why man was learning sporting activities, from chasing to hunting to also handling of weapons, to the situation where in 1904, where the Scottish came to Nigeria to introduce us to other forms of sports, the gymnastic and the badminton and so other sports. So all of these sectors actually, all of these are actually formed that education. And what it promotes is an idea of what morality. Yes, it uplifts moral, moral tendencies. So yes, so when you have education also inculcated in sports, it brings character, it brings discipline. So that is it. I would like to stop from there now in that place now, Uncle, and I'll return back to you when you give me an opportunity.
Okay.
Thank you.
I think one of the things I got from what he said was the fact that athletes are not given the right attention, or they are not appreciated as much as they should be. I remember in 2021 when the Tigers, the female basketball team of Nigeria, finished the Afro Basket competition. They came out top of the league, and days after their victory, they had some complaints to make about the officials of our Nigerian sports team. Now, it's appalling that we have situations like that, and this goes to translate how it is from sports to other sectors in the country. And even in sports, it goes to show how other areas of sports are treated, from football to badminton to cricket and a lot others. And it's just nice to mention now, we're not just talking about football, we're talking about other areas of sports. Here we have on the table is chess, and chess is an area that has not been given as much attention that it should get. But right about now, I want to move to Edidiong, who I would like to hear from her. Now, a female has spoken, now we need to hear from a second female. What do you think, as a female, what do you think are the challenges you see when you look at sports in Nigeria, and how do you think we can tackle these challenges?
Okay, thank you so much, Daniel, my husband today.
Yes, job not complete.
Thank you. Okay, I'll go straight to talking about lack of looking to other sports sector. See, when we talk about sports, it's very conventional that it is the football aspect. Yes, we see soccer here and here, everybody will have their club side, the fan and all that. But we have other sports, even in our country, and those other areas of sports are not promoted. Okay, now let's bring home relay race, high jump, lawn tennis, table tennis, handball, mention them. We have them, but imagine us focusing only on football. It's not really pleasing for us to look into one direction. Then what happened to the other areas of sport? It now falls back to our government. We have people that are willing, young stars that are willing, they are coming up, they are ready to do these things. But is our government really supporting them to that extent for them to do it and bring benefits, glory? It's always very interesting when we see our people going out, going to international standard, and they bring back the glory. Like when Toby won, as she was singing the national, I was so emotional. I sang alongside with her. I sang alongside with her. But then if we now look at table tennis and we want to talk about it, can we say that we have someone that is out there that can do it into the international standard and bring it back to us? Okay, let's talk about let me say volleyball. Just let's mention them. Our governments are not looking into the direction. Since we are excelling in only football, the field is really proper, and that's a problem. And that's the solution should come in the aspect of them targeting other aspects of sports, not just soccer. Now I want to talk about Nigeria as a whole not having healthy competition within the sport. Now, sports brings unity naturally.
Yes.
There is no how I will maybe village A has not been to village B, but one way sports brings them together to come and play. You know that one or two person must have met each other in that place, and the relationship will now grow. Now, within our state at first, I've not really, apart from it's still soccer. Because they say Abia Avengers come and play with Dakada United. It's just still soccer. They've not really pointed it out to Abia Avengers, you have your lawn tennis team.
Yes.
Bring it, let's come and play with Dakada United, or mention them other clubs within the country. It still goes back to soccer. We are not looking into the other way, and as these people are competing, we are bringing out, if they come now, maybe towards the end of it, definitely we have somebody they say player of the year, sportsman or sportswoman of the year. We are still promoting those people, and we can bring them up to getting into the international level. We don't have much time. I would have dwelled into much, but let me just circumvent it around this one that is very common and is very challenging among us. Our government should look into other areas of sport, improve this interstate competition, even to our local government level, local governments A and B. Come and compete. Let's see who can promote to the state level, from the state level to the national level. So, man, come on, let me just leave it there to you when you come back, and I will have much to contribute.
Okay, thank you very much for that witty contribution. I think one thing I need to add to what she has said is the area of funding. I think everything she has said, what she meant is, if I be the president of this country, if I be the governor of this state, what I would do is to ensure that competition amongst different local government and states would be encouraged in order to foster a sports system that would increase the number of people in sports and ensure to produce champions in the world, not just in Nigeria alone. So right about now, we want to move to our man who is ready to spill, Mr. Matthew, who will be giving us some insight on what he thinks are the solution to some problems we're facing in terms of sports in the country. So over to you, Matthew.
All right, Daniel. Thank you so much. You're welcome.
Thank you.
I really see you guys are really appearing with sport.
I
like that fact. All right. Edidion really talked about so many sport aspects of what we are talking about. You know, when we talk of sport industry, it has to develop both the country and individual.
Yes.
That aspect should be what we should focus on. How can we achieve this? She did mention of so many sports. It's not just sport, football aspect. You know, here in Nigeria, we focus on football, like she said, boxing. We also focus on, this one that they focus on
kickboxing, is it?
Kickboxing. That one is not really being focused on. Basketball. Those are the three aspects that we are really looking at. But I want to draw our attention to this aspect that when we have Common World Games, is it just those three aspects of sport that we face out there with other countries? No. We have so many sports that we need to follow up and participate with other countries in terms of maybe we have Commonwealth, like just the concluded Commonwealth. Okay, we so made it that most of our athletes were involved in some of those sports. But is it up to standard that we as Nigeria can be like both on our own to say that maybe 2030 that we are capable of hosting such tournament? No. I don't think we can host such tournament. What do we have? That forced me back to infrastructure. Do we really have this stadium that are well equipped? What do we have? Is it just a stadium or a mini stadium for playing football that just have maybe where you can blow the boxing that we are really focusing on, and probably what do we have? Can we come out and say that we can build a stadium that is world class, that where we have swimming pool, we have long table, there are so many discourse, long table, long tennis, we have shot put, javelin, high jump, all those things are what can bring, as in what can boost us as a country, and we should be proud of that. One day, 1 year, and maybe in futuristic time, we will be bold to say
We can host.
Let us just say FIFA. We are ready to host this tournament.
Yes.
We as a FIFA. Let me fall back now to FIFA. To NFF, the Nigerian Football Federation. All right, they have a vital role to play.
Yes.
And they should have policies that are govern them. This policy should be a policy that maybe a particular government that comes in a session that maybe during election like this, you've come in. Can you just promise us to build us one standard and world-class stadium in that state throughout your 8 years? Let's see if it can be possible. We don't just, they used to say that Rome was not just in a day. Yes. Let's not just be looking at one aspect that we don't really have what we can boast of. You've talked about how we should even encourage more, but the grassroots, there are players inside the grassroots that are very talented. Yeah. Talented to the sense that they can be boosted to even compete with the likes of Ronaldo, Messi outside there. But how do we play a part like with those policies to see how we can bring them out to the system that we want? Not just football, all those aspects that we've mentioned. Why? Because we don't have those facilities. Not to even to train with. There is this mini stadium that we have here in Akwa Ibom that the stadium was built. Some of those things were available, but maintenance aspect of it is not up to 1 year. It's not just building all those infrastructure. Will you maintain it for us to have a futuristic development of sport that will boost the economy? You can't just build something, you don't maintain it and expect it to be generating something for you. Yeah. So that aspect of infrastructure should be pertinent. We should look at it very critically. Okay. And as a governor or as a president incoming, I believe that it's pertinent that if we can have stadium, when I say stadium, well equipped with all the aspects of sport, we can stand out as a country to be boosted with call FIFA. We just call them that we are ready to host World Cup. They come and see it. So that's a lot to talk about.
That's nice. Okay, so he has said a lot so far, and I believe one of the things he's trying to communicate is that Nigeria has been growing, but we have not been looking with a futuristic eye. We have not been trying to build sustainable plans that would include sports in the next 10 to 20 years to come. If we had been doing this, then the people who succeeded those years will be the people championing more people to go far in sports in the country right now. And we are lacking in this area. And that is why we need solution-driven leaders who would come in and ensure that sports is utilized to grow the economy. Now, talking about the economy, how can sports increase the economy of any country? How can sports increase the GDP of Nigeria that we're in right now? So I'll move straight to Ejidion very briefly before we end this episode of our discussion. How can sports increase the GDP of the country?
Seriously, it still falls back to everything we've talked about as our challenges and our solution, because when we talk, like Matthew said, facility. You know, when we have this thing, we'll be very bold to stand out and say, okay, honorable, come to my country, I'm ready for this, I'm ready. Like this country that is hosting World Cup. Qatar, thank you very much. Yeah. If they did not have all those facilities, they will not start bargaining. Come and host World Cup in my country.
And they didn't start today.
It's not today. It has been there for a very long time.
Yeah.
And here they are. They've gotten the glory.
With maintenance.
World Cup is there in their country. Now, if you have those facilities, it will boost our tourism. Because when people are coming in to Nigeria to maybe for sports purposes, for the fact that their country are here, 1 or 2 or 3 citizens of that country will come. And when they come, they want to, oh, Nigeria have been hearing about you. I want to see this in Nigeria. Where is this located? Our tourism is coming up now. Yeah. And we are going to still generate funds in one way or the other from that. And aside the tourism aspect, at the same time, we need to have security. We should dive down to security. Because I don't understand how your house is comfortable and you expect me to come. It's a meal. I won't come, seriously. Because if where I'm coming to is not secured, there is no how I'm coming in. And the tourism aspect of our sport is in trouble. In short, our country is in trouble. So our security first should be together.
We should be sure that people that are coming in are safe. After we've had this facility, we maintain them. People will now start coming. We secure people that are coming. I mean, we're known for hospitality and we move on with that.
Okay, the issue is so critical. She had to move into a BBO. So next up, can you talk about how we can increase the GDP?
Yes, I'm going to take this very personal too, based on the fact that we need to come back to grassroots. We are not paying key attention to these players who are here at the Nigeria Professional Football League doing very well and are not doing well. Daniel, it falls back to this grassroots. So even myself too, they can come and buy me. I can play well. I can help the country. So thank you very much.
We cannot take more contributions right now because we've come to the limit of our time. But you've heard from everybody that's spoken, including myself. We believe in sports. We believe the country can grow through sports, and we want you to believe in this dream too. Thank you very much for taking your time to listen to this brief conversation. We believe we've dropped solution to these problems that is affecting sports in the country. Thank you so much and have a wonderful time.
Thank you.
President's reality TV show.
Yes, sport lovers, you've heard from the horse's mouth. Talking about the revamping, or I call it sport development, from these wonderful ladies and gentlemen. Please put your hands together for yourselves. Yes, it was a day we chose to discuss sport. And how sport can be used as a tool, or I call it tool, or we can look at the sector to bring that development. You can see it, various of the housemates came out with different clubs, European club jerseys, just to show you the love they have for the football club in this particular well, I call it countries. But we hardly see people that is on Nigeria football jersey. That's a very big question. I don't know exactly why the housemates never brought that in to the discussion. But all the same, in generally or whatever you have said, I think you brought in the point that will be looked into, and also to see how we can use that to make a change if there is any need for that. But let me query you first and foremost. I haven't seen any Nigerian club jersey here.
Who's going to bring it?
Fred, the Arsenal jersey. Damaris, which club is that? Adidas, just Adidas. How come Manchester United?
A big fan.
A big fan. Now in Nigeria, which one are you fanning?
Akada United.
Is that?
I'm from Cross River State.
So Cross River State.
Yes, they have a football team.
And the football team is called what?
Calabar Rovers.
Calabar Rovers.
Yes.
I haven't heard of Calabar Rovers before, because I haven't heard of Rangers of Calabar. All right, Fred, which one are you?
In the Nigerian team.
Nigeria.
Currently, I don't find any Nigerian clubs.
How do you find it? You want to develop sports in Nigeria? How?
I don't want to develop
Sport in Nigeria.
He wants to do it from abroad.
Developing sports in Nigeria, it doesn't necessarily mean I must fan a particular club. It has to do with the general public.
Then how do we promote?
Promoting.
When you don't fan, what? How do we promote?
What do you promote?
Yes.
What do you promote?
I promote Nigeria. Nigerian sporting system generally needs more like I said when we're talking, like a reorientation to project our image in a positive way. Before we can now talk about even promoting it. Are we even up to standard? Do we meet the position of airing viewing rights? Do we need the positions of getting investors to even push our product out? Is it even designed like a product? Is it the market? Can we buy from it? Can we sell it to a neighboring country? So these are lots.
Okay. Jefferson.
Yes, sir.
Which of the sports are you really keen of in Nigeria? Which one?
Like sports?
Yes, which of them?
Basketball and football.
Basketball. Are you a basketballer?
Yes.
Now, of recent, I think the NBA was banned in Nigeria as a result of 1 or 2 fracas now. Now, what can you say about the basketball in Nigeria in terms of that particular?
Well, just like I don't know who was saying that most of our basketballers are not based here. They're being nurtured there, and then
they only come back to play for national team.
Here to play like Udoka. Udoka
Okay.
plays with Lakers, and then he comes to play as a national captain.
Okay.
The development of sports, actually, we need to be intentional about it. That's all.
That's just what you can say. Faith, which one do you play out of all the sports? Are you a fan of
I'm a fan of Aqua United.
Okay, Aqua United.
Yes, and I love football out of all.
I love football, just like what you played on Saturday. And we are there.
And I scored a goal.
You scored a goal. I don't want to ask if you scored the opposite side or you scored your. It was an own goal. An own goal.
I did not.
I mean, your goal is a goal.
Absolutely.
That you scored.
Opposite side.
Okay. All right. Let's look at this now. Now, with all what you've said, what's the way forward? Is there any possibility of reviving this ailing sector? Talk about sports. I discovered that in most of the places you see our young guys in town, young Nigerians, they only have this hope of playing in Europe, but they end up playing in primary schools. For 30 years, they're still having the hope of playing in Europe. Lastly, I don't know what next. We have different agents from various European countries who come. Anybody's opportunity to travel out and maybe possibly snap at any of either Old Trafford or Stamford Bridge, or become an agent automatically and say, I'm coming to scout, and our guys will be deceived and they will be dwindled with so much amount of money with the hope of playing in Europe. I haven't mentioned so many who have been stranded ashore just to get this out. Now, what can we do as a people to bring back that spirit of sportsmanship in Nigeria?
First, I will talk about structure.
Okay.
He talked about intentionality of our sports. I want to bring to mind something that happened, I think, was it 2010 or 2008, where Nigeria was doing a presentation to host the next World Cup. And I remember very well because I watched that presentation on NTV. And I remember the FIFA representative saying, oh, nice presentation. It was very good. But they said, we can't give it to you.
Yes.
Because as a country, they mentioned something about being a country. So they've obviously seen how we've handled other things. They've seen how we handle our own sports infrastructure. The structures that we have, the policies that we have, don't really favor or promote sports. That's why a parent wouldn't, if you say, oh, if my son today says, I want to be in sports, the truth is I'll take him outside the country.
Okay.
Because the funding of the whole thing here, it will just basically be on me.
No, in a nutshell, now, what are you driving at? Is it the funding or the funding?
The structure.
Or the structure?
The structure needs to be set up properly. The kind of policies that encourage other people to come into sport, other organizations to come into sport, that encourage different levels of education, both the primary, the secondary, and the tertiary level of education, to have sports.
All right. Okay, thank you very much. Daniel, now, of recent, Executive Governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike, I think, commissioned an academy owned by Real Madrid. I think it's in partnership with them. Yeah. Now, does this really show that there is a hope inside this particular sector in Nigeria?
I think this is, to me, is a development, is a feat that the Rivers State government, or Rivers State as a whole, has achieved, because this has just brought Real Madrid closer to Nigeria, and in Rivers State, to be precise. Because if we have more people in this academy who are mostly in Rivers State, go through this academy and go to Spain to play, we'll have more people who would come back and represent the nation entirely. So I think it's a welcome development, and it will continue to boost the country in terms of sport, because not just in football, because other areas will be affected too. Okay, let's try cricket. Okay, let's try badminton. Okay, let's try basketball. Let's see how we can make other
You
sectors
just
better.
made mention of cricket. Do we have such in Nigeria?
I know people play
Let's
cricket
search as in like
in
where and how, because I haven't really seen.
I think that's one thing I was trying to call.
My school has a cricket pitch.
Okay.
My imports, there's a cricket pitch.
Okay.
So those
And do we have people with that
yes,
interest?
there are coaches who actually train people. People who actually cricket.
Now, if you're a coach, who coaches a cricket as a like that's what you studied and come back, don't you think you die of hunger and starvation? Because you don't.
We have in Nigeria.
Okay.
It looks like a system where we have people being on their own.
All right. Odinaka, people consider sport here to be exercise. True or false? They just look at fine now. Let me go for exercising. Anything they see, they lay their hands on. They don't really have this particular passion for it and take it as a profession. Now, how can we change that narrative? Is there any possibility?
Yes, there is a possibility. That's why we start from the grassroots, where local government, like what used to happen before, during the colonial period. You see they set up activities such as sports festival and inter-house
okay, competitions.
Between schools, between local government. All these things promote or give people the zeal and passion to join sport. Just like what Mr. Bamba said, that he had this passion for sport, but because nothing promoted it, so it just died. Even like me, I'm a karateka. Like I fight karate.
Wow.
But since I'm in the
Okay. All right.
I'm in the team. Yes, but what stopped me was that my parents didn't want me to do because they brought in religion.
Okay.
And since I'm an obedient child, I just had to stay.
Okay. All right.
So yes, it can be a profession if we are, just like what he said, intentional about it.
Absolutely.
And if
Okay.
everybody is working collectively, especially from the grassroots, whereby you would find talents there, and then you train them so that they can perform highly.
Okay. Again, now, Matthew, in school, there was this particular thing called inter-house sports. I don't know if they still do it in schools now.
Yes.
Secondary schools now. Now we had the javelin, we had the discourse, long jump, and now was there any need for you to participate in any of those? And which one was your favorite?
All right, thank you, sir. If I can stand up, you will realize I'm a sportsman. All right, that takes me back to when I was there in secondary school. Actually, I was a game prefect, and I was also a house captain.
Okay.
In terms of that,
inter-house sports. Okay.
I had that privilege of participating in all the
sporting activities. Okay.
Within that time, too. But my best, although I took almost all the medals there, my best was just volleyball.
Volleyball.
Yes.
Okay. Now, did you ever think of having or developing a career in that, apart from maybe being in school or becoming a politician or whatever? That you want to be a volleyballer, this is what you do, as in like your zeal to work towards achieving these.
That will form me back to where I said, I did mention when we were doing our presentation, those facilities, do we have it? I might have a zeal or maybe passion, dream about this particular sport, but do I have those structure that is available in where I'm located to boost or encourage myself in building that career comes so that it can add value to the country?
It seems in Nigeria today, everybody's just about football, and that ends the story now. Yes. Even table tennis and every other this thing. Is it that we don't really just love sport in Nigeria, or we don't just want because I am afraid?
Okay.
Okay, Editor is going to talk now. But before you talk now, don't you think sporting sector has been politicized? Like even in the entire sport aspect of it now, they monetize all the sports, that the interest is on how to sell the uniforms, the sporting wears and everything, instead of the men having to do. Now, how do we get out of these?
Politics in sports first, let me tackle that. It's very obvious now in our country, let's be realistic, that when it gets to this football that we have, when it gets to who should play, instead of coaches, people that are there in charge that are supposed to say, Mr. A, come, you are good at this, just come, go and do it for us. Instead, they will just and bring someone that is not supposed to be there into that. So they have politicized it already. So it is, how will someone else stay somewhere and be encouraged? Okay, assuming me now, I don't have someone to put my name or someone to push me forward, but I'm good at it. Then I cannot get there by merit. I mean, what is the encouragement that I will have again? Now let's get to the aspect of improving it. Now we cannot talk about facilities. Matthew has said it already. We don't want to talk about not having sports academy. Okay, our federal government should see it this way, that okay, we cannot manage and maintain this. Why not privatize it? Call private bodies, partner with them, tell them come and do this, so that even individuals, they can do it, they can fund it themselves and do it, so that when it gets to the time that okay, Nigeria, so since you cannot host us, we are ready to host you outside, bring your players. You just go to the academy and pick these people, tell them come out, you are going to represent your country, and this will be very simple, other than us coming to sit down and wait for the likes of.
It's okay, thank you very much. I'd love to continue, but let's just leave that. You've heard from them what they need to do. Just assume when they become leaders, this particular sector will not suffer. You've heard from individual contributions and even the groups as well. They've said so much about the sporting sector that needs to be revisited. As it stands now, Africa as a whole, apart from maybe a few countries like Kenya, like Ethiopia, who are very good in athletes and football, go to South Africa, you can always boost off. Even our very neighboring Ghana, I think their national team is being rated far above the Nigerian team. Let's just watch out if this group of persons, when given the opportunity, will be able to revamp and bring back sport back to Nigeria. Is that a promise? Is that a wish that we should have? It's all right. We just hope that you people will also have a Nigerian team to support than European teams as well. It's all right. All the same, thank you very much, housemates, for a wonderful presentation today. As we look towards having much more from the house, don't forget you have a role to play. For you to keep any of these favorite housemates here in the house, you have to go straight to the website and do justice by clicking on the picture and do the voting as well. From the presidential villa today, we say thank you and have a very lovely day.